Welcome to our class. In this class, we will look at SEO, search engine optimization, and measuring results. Search engine optimization will only be applicable if your product is on the internet and you are interested in having people find it using search engines. So here we are looking at our elements. Our SEO should be conducted during the scope and structure planes. Results would be after the product has been released. Search engine optimization means making your website the best it can be for your users and the search engines, for both of them. So who is your target audience? Real people. We looked at that with our personas, not search engines, although some people think that the most important thing is for the search engines to find you. The target is real people who are seeking what you have to offer. They use the search engine to find you, to find what you offer. They do that by asking a question. They may have a problem they need solved, or they may have something they need. But people are seeking you and using search engines to find you. So search engine optimization provides search engines and target audiences with what they want. They provide the user with what they want. They make your content available to them, answers their questions, solves their problems, and fills their needs. By optimizing your pages in this matter, it helps to avoid technical issues that could impede the crawlers and to create pages that conform to the algorithms of many of the engines. However, these algorithms can change. So you want to make sure that your content is relevant to what the user is looking for, and that is the key. And this is accomplished during the scope and structure, where we research the key phrases and write the content to appeal to users and search engines. Keywords or key phrases are the cornerstone of search engine optimization. The phrases the user may use to find information is what we want to find out. What phrases should we use? We can research this. Ultimately, the engines try to find the best pages that match those phrases, so knowing what phrases the user may use is critical. There are many tools that you can use to determine if the phrases are good or not, or how often they're used. So you want to research to figure out what phrases we might use, and we also want to know what phrases we're not going to use. So you might want to brainstorm and then categorize and then do some research and then determine which are more competitive than others and then make a decision. It's just not guesswork. So when you're brainstorming, the user characteristics help determine the wording of your phrases back to the user. You also might need to consider geographic location or demographics depending on the product and the terms. You might want to find out what other people say when it comes to a phrase, terminology used by the customer, sales department, friends. You could look onto forums, blogs, and even your competitors. Ultimately, you're going to categorize by themes and create keywords based on the product or the service. You're going to test them, and you're going to use the browser to do the work. And then you're going to compile your results. You will remove the non-relevant phrases and the low count phrases. Competitiveness. How much competition is there for a phrase? How difficult or easy would it be to see results if you optimize for that phrase? How many other sites are optimized for that phrase? And there are tools that you can use to find that out. So, choosing which keyword phrases to use. A non-competitive phrase might not be used that frequently as opposed to a highly competitive phrase. You ultimately want to choose the most used and the most relevant based on the competitiveness. Your site architecture, your linking structure is also important. Each page should be optimized for keywords. The home page might have the most competitive phrases, whereas other phrases that are more narrow in focus might have less competitive phrases. The domain name itself could have key phrases. Your paths and file names also. In your HTML coding, the title, your meta tags, headings, anchors, and image alt attributes should all have meaningful key phrases in them. The title text generally shows up in the result page and is used to create interest for the user to click and go to your site. For example, if I typed in this phrase, there is the title containing those phrases. The meta description generally shows up in the result page as the description. Here again, the keywords get indexed, and it's used to create an interest for the user to follow and click to go to your site. Here again, using the same phrase or description with the key phrases. Headings are given extra weight by search engines. They make sense to users and to search engines, so they should have key phrases in them. The link text means a lot to search engines and also to users. It tells them what's going to be clicked on. Here again, using keywords as the link text. The alt attribute, which is required for accessibility, is also used for search engines. So here you should be using keywords. Remember, we're writing for users, not for search engines. And writing for search engines is not good. You might get a high ranking, and you might get a lot of page visitors, but your visitors probably are going to leave because they can't find what they're looking for because you optimize for the engines and not for the user. Remember, when it comes to SEO, content is king. You write for the users, but you also keep the search engines in mind. Alright, so how do we develop good content? We assume the user knows nothing. The first glance should show important information. The key phrases will let them know that you have what you're looking for. So here again, finding the right key phrases. The home page is given the most weight, which is where we need our competitive phrases, keyword-rich title tag, top-level pages, with keywords, etc. Another way to become popular with the search engines, other than developing good content, is what's called link popularity, the number of links that point to your site. This is something that we don't have a lot of control over, but if we have a quality site, we might get quality links pointing to it. So, link popularity is judged by the importance and quality of the page that links to our site, not just any link. Alright, and the text, how old the link is, and how relevant that content on that page is to yours. Essentially, what others say about your site is just as important as what you say about it. All right, so having a lot of links putting to a site is a good signal that the site is good. Now, some people develop tricks out there trying to fool the search engines with link popularity. So how can we create link popularity? Blog posts, YouTube videos, podcasts, press release services, marketing your blog, putting your content on the internet in different forms, gives an opportunity to gain links and to gain more market share. Social media, creating profiles, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, for the company or the brand. And these can provide what are called backlinks, links back to your site. Google uses what is called a page rank to determine where you rank on the search result page. It's some kind of algorithm, and it is highly based on link popularity, although it does change periodically. Another thing about Google ranking, it's constantly fluctuating. It might rank differently for different forms of key phrases. It might be geographically targeted. And here again, it might be personalized. The results that I get on my computer might vary from the results from you get on your computer, because Google knows a little bit more about me and my search habits and will personalize the results for me. So there is no one general rule of thumb or any secret formula for getting a high page rank on Google. Ultimately, how do we know if what we did was a good idea? How do we know if it worked? How do we know if it was successful? We need some kind of a success metrics to track the success of the product we're developing. In order to do that, we need to, first of all, determine what we want to measure. Back to the goals and objectives, to our strategy plane. When we're developing our goals and objectives, we want to realize that somehow we have to be able to measure whether we've accomplished them. All right, here's some examples. And sometimes, depending on what your goals are, you want to get statistics ahead of time so that you have a baseline upon which to measure the statistics after the release of the product. For example, you might have launched a website or a product to increase your sales, and you might measure that in a graph over time to see if the sales went up. You might have put a product there in order to possibly decrease tech support, and if you were graphing it over time, it might go down, meaning you're successful. You might also have the completion of an activity. You might have a product you want people to do something, and here again you graph to see whether they're doing that. Feedback systems, ratings, comments, reviews, surveys. These are other ways that we can gauge some kind of an idea on whether we've been successful. Other ways that we can gauge success: weekly visits, page visits, products sold, subscriptions, subscribers, followers, likes, comments. A good tool, Google Analytics, helps measure where the traffic's coming from and the keywords used so that you can see where you need improvement. Most web servers give statistic packages, and there's other third-party tools and other analytical tools available.